You have also touched on some key themes. Listening to you, some words have come back again and again. Healing, mindset change. And I go back to my introduction to this series where I talked about the framed texts I used to see by Norman Vincent Peale. And it says, change your mind and you change your world. You know, if you have to break that down, I will come to healing after now, but I think the first step is actually that change in your mindset, the position of your mind. Because if your mind says, if you live here, you will not survive, you will obviously not survive, right? Or if you quit this job, your life has ended. It will look like your life really ended. So when we talk about mindset, that shifts in mindset, if you want to break it down to a lay person listening to this, how, maybe with your own example, how did that come about? Did it come about like overnight? Or was it a gradual shift? Or was there anything, a moment in time that brought about that change or that shift in mindset?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. If I were to break it down, it would be this simple. It has to do with honesty. One of the things I had to do was to train myself to tell myself the truth. Honesty is a skill. It can be taught and it can be trained. You know, it's not just something that is thrown on us because, you know, we're born, we came into this world. No, it's a skill that can be trained. So I had been training myself to tell myself the truth about different things. Maybe a pitch I gave, oh, you could have done this better. I was training myself to reflect a lot, especially before hitting the bed, just thinking about how my day went. And I was training myself to tell myself the truth. And it was in that moment, one of those days, that some things hit me that, you know, this job makes you sad, right? You know? So I think if I were to say, how does that change in mindset come? It comes from laying a foundation of honesty. Being honest. If you're able to be honest with yourself, you will be able to be honest with everything and everyone in your life.
Wow. So at the core of a mindset change is you telling yourself the truth. More like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, hey, Kate, you see this path you are going? It's taking you nowhere. You know, it's difficult. You know, there are things people say, we don't understand it. When we say things like, it's only you that can tell yourself the truth. You can lie to every other person, but you can't lie to yourself, you know. So the part that honesty plays in mindset change is central. That's what you just said.
It's so key.
So our listeners, you know now that you can deceive everybody, but you cannot deceive yourself.
You can attempt to deceive yourself, actually, but you fail woefully.
You fail because if you deceive yourself, like I tell people, I said, you know, when you say in the quietness of my heart, there is one corner of your heart that knows the truth of the real situation, because you know the truth. If you ask yourself honestly, and I agree with you perfectly, if you ask yourself honestly, this thing, where will it lead me to? You know where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you know where it's going to lead. The only thing is just that, you know, that delusional part of you as a human being, where you tell yourself that, you know what, I know it's going to lead me there.
Yeah.
But maybe if I hang on a little, maybe if I bear, maybe if I manage, maybe if I, you see, it's killing a lot of us.
Killed a lot of people.
And you know, one of the things I remember when you said something like you had a breakdown. One of the things that obviously leads to that breakdown is when you keep, you know, patching up this whole, you know, this thing is going nowhere, but you just keep patching it. You're in a job that is not satisfied. You're not satisfied. You have toxic colleagues. You have a toxic system. You have a system that does not reward effort, does not value your values. And then you just keep saying, because I'm in Lagos, I have to survive. I have to still eat. Let me keep going. One day you will lose it.
Yeah.
If you do not lose it in that office, you will lose it in the marketplace. You will lose it on the road.
Yes.
Because it becomes over time, it becomes like a heavy burden that you are bearing. So listening to you say that begins to bring some kind of clarity to me on why a lot of times people choose to sit in the position where they are. They do not want to change it. They do not want to move because of the fear again. That fear holding them back. So when you said fear is the enemy, when you said fear, at what point did you confront fear? Face to face, as in, hey, fear, sit down, listen, you have nothing on me.
I would probably say, I'll probably say around when I decided I was done with the marriage. So when I decided I was done with the marriage was way before I left. So I said I was done, that, there's really nothing I can do. However, I wanted to wait and there's still like one part of you that would hope something would change. Maybe there'll be some kind of near-death experience that will bring about how they I mean, movies have done a number on my mind. so I had that somewhere, but it never happened, and since it didn't happen, that's when it was that phase. Really, I decided to just face fear, that look, I'm going to do this. I don't care what anybody says, or maybe I care a bit. Let me not use the words I don't care. I care a bit, but I'm not going to allow other people's opinions, dictate to me how my life should go. And I'd spent months or maybe even years just reflecting on my entire life, and I realized that and that's one of the reasons I went into education, because I realized that the average African child, let me say Nigerian, because for better context, you are not taught how to think, you are not taught how to make decisions. And that's why, even though when I was dating this person, I had that niggling feeling that this isn't right, or certain behaviors were inappropriate, I could never address it and take a decision and stick to that decision. Why? Because mommy and daddy picked primary school. Mommy and daddy picked secondary school without my input. Mommy and daddy picked the major I was going to do in university or college. They picked the college, no input whatsoever. Getting married. Oh, I don't like this boy. This one, it looks like he's from a good family. Just whether directly or indirectly making decisions for you, that sort of thing. And so I'd been reflecting quite a bit, and I said, you know what, this same society, the fear of this society is not going to have any hold on me. I think it was really at that point, that phase where between where I'd made the decision and when I actually left. That was when I said, I am no longer afraid. Fear has crept up once in a while, but when I remember the fact that, okay, I've conquered it before, I can conquer it again and again, I'm able to face that fear.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that honestly. Now let's look at rebuilding. Let's look at rebuilding. If we dwell on what has led us to the point where we needed to press the restart button, we can spend the whole day on it. But let's look at rebuilding, where you are now. Just talk me through it. Because you said, boy, am I doing good? Yes, I'm doing good. So just have at it.
I think I'm doing great. So rebuilding, it was so tough to start, but I'm so grateful to God because I had a few voices, in terms of maybe friends or just acquaintances that would say something and I'll hold on to it and use it to encourage myself. I had this friend in particular. Shout out to Nabu Fall. When I left the marriage, I had nowhere to go. As a matter of fact, I was prepared to go sleep under the bridge in Oshodi. I was just ready. I preferred under the bridge to the house, I was living in. But then somebody intervened and they put me in a guest house with the children and all of that until the families could meet. So I remember that period. This, my friend, I reached out to her and she said, just give yourself 2 years. It's going to be tough initially, but just give yourself 2 years. As long as you're not lazy, as long as you're an honest person, just give yourself 2 years. And I kind of just held on to it, and I was like, oh, 2 years, okay. And so I was in that phase where I was always like, so what have you always wanted to do? You have an opportunity to start life all over again. What is it that you're going to build with your hands this time? What kind of life do you want to build? And so I didn't exactly do a vision board, although I do those now, thanks to a friend of mine, Precious Jono. I do those now, but then it was really just me having a picture of what I wanted. And so I went through this phase of, what have people always said about me that's good? And I asked a few friends, or I also asked them what they thought my flaws were, because I wanted to build from a place of strength and I wanted to build something that would outlive me. So I did a lot of inner work. Even though I still reached out to some trusted people who tell me about me. What do you think are my blind sides? I wanted to, I needed to know who I was all over again. And I also needed to train myself to become more self-aware, because I realized that a lot of the mistakes I'd made in life, there was something inside of me that was always like, nah, don't do it. But I never listened. So I needed to know who I really was for me. And that's really where I started from before I went to start building. I needed to know who I was so I could know what it is I can build, I'm capable of building. So putting all of that together, plus what my dreams were as a child, that's when I said, girl, you need to start your crèche and preschool. That's what you need to be building. So I started to buy toys. I would see, and I think this now occurred in an era when Japa was now on the rise. So people would be traveling, they were selling off things. I started to buy, I'll keep in my room in my mother's house, just buy and keep there, until the time was then right for me to focus on it. So to anybody that wants to build, I would actually say, to thyself be true, and then know yourself, so you can know what your natural propensities are and build towards that. I think that's super important, because whatever you're building you should be thinking about how it would outlive you. So for you to put in all your energy, your blood, your sweat, you should be building something that would last. From a place of, you should be building from your strengths.
From what you have said, the place of support, having a support system is very important. From the point of pressing the stop button to where you begin to rethink which path I want to go on. There is that very important role that having a support system plays. I know you have mentioned 2 people, one of whom I happen to know.
Oh, okay.
And I agree with you totally that in this journey of life is not something you can do all by yourself. Without the right support, you will find yourself falling and rising every day, you know. So let's look at I know that you talked about becoming a more mindful person.
Yes.
And becoming a superb human.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that because, you know, we hear superb, right? But we hardly hear people describe themselves as superb humans. So for you to say, I am becoming more mindful, I have become a superb human, I want to hear about that.
Oh, okay. So, when I would ask some of these my friends back then, who tell me about me, of course, I'm blessed to have very honest people as friends. So they would say, you this girl, you're cool here, you're cool here, you're cool here, but you see here. And then I started to reflect and also still ask questions where I needed clarity on, okay, so how does this my behavior affect our relationship? How does it affect even me without me knowing? And I saw that, there are a number of things about myself that I needed to change and improve on. It's so key to me to be human and humane. It's so key to me. So when my, inner circle people told me then that, you need to manage how you react when you're upset a bit better, because this is how it affects me. I wanted to be better because I didn't want to lose that friend. I didn't want to lose that friend. And so it's made me see that the different aspects of my life that I needed to be more intentional about. It made me realize I'm not that good a human. I thought I was like one of the best human beings. Nah, I wasn't that good a human. There were things that I was doing, saying, maybe not even on purpose, that were hurting other humans, scarring them very deeply. And it then put me on a journey, and that was the journey that finally led to me realize, I have so much trauma I need to start healing from, so I can be a better human being. And so I'm much I pick my words better now. I watch my tone. And I say I'm a superb human being, not just because I know, but but this is feedback I get all the time these days. My kids call me superhuman, so I put the B. I put the B because now I feel so powerful. I can do so many things. Once I set it's still the power of the mind. Once I set my mind to something that, I can do this, you've got this gift, you've got that. I put my mind to it. I look at the system in my life and the structures I've set up to create a life of ease and peace. And I'm like, okay, how can this system how can this structure support this new vision? And I try to work it in. If it's not the right time, I just park it. I write it in a journal and I park it. And that's why I say I'm a superb human being. And I always say, you have me in your life. You should be grateful to God, because this is a child of God that is constantly working on herself, constantly speaking with the Holy Spirit. I'm always conscious of I'm going to be very careful here, but I'm always very conscious of my priesthood and the power I have to create, not just create art, create wealth, and create better humans. I'm always very conscious of that. And that's why I say I'm a superb human being, because I've worked on myself. I've worked on myself. And I think what makes any human being superb is that power of honesty. It's so powerful. I always talk about honesty and overcoming fear, because I think they are the most unstoppable. They are the most important tools you need to make you unstoppable as a human. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a very honest conversation. I know that a lot of times people find it difficult to open up about their personal struggles and how it's easy to be motivational.
Yeah.
You know, it's very easy to come out and say, you just take this step, and you're up there.
5 tips.
You know, and I told myself, I'm not a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Because if I have to motivate, have I even finished motivating myself? Right? But I believe in the power of honesty, in the power of truth telling, in the power of you being open to yourself, because your true healing can only come when you are open to yourself. When no one is watching, what are you telling yourself? Are you deceiving yourself? You're telling yourself you are good when you are not, you know? And I've also learned by experience that growth only comes from that helping yourself to know the truth. The truth. See, you see, when you talked about self-awareness, it can make or mar you.
Yeah.
If you are not self-aware, you will get into every trouble there is to get into in this life. If you are not open and truthful to yourself, the devil will make a mockery of you. The life itself will make a mockery of you, because you will keep deceiving yourself. And you know, everyone looking at you know you are deceiving yourself. But you keep telling us, thinking you are deceiving somebody else. It's yourself.
Yeah.
So you have actually touched on core themes around, you know, starting again, building afresh, understanding your purpose. You have touched on those core themes. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being truthful. Yes, this may not have provided us the time to say it all as it is, but I believe it's the beginning of a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that others will join in this. And for those people who are going through a moment in time where it looks like it's dark, you do not know what to do. You do not know what button to press and your world will come crashing. You do not know where to start from. This is a cue for you to know that it is possible to start again. It is possible to build from scratch. You do not need to know where to start from. All you need is that mind shift that it is possible to start. Like I told myself, I will take that step, and wherever it leads, I will go. It comes with a decision. It all begins with a simple decision of, I have to keep going. I cannot be stopped. I will not allow what the world will say to stop me. I will not allow what the people around me will say, because the world has very many versions of everything, but they do not have a version that will support you when the chips are down. When it sets, like I tell you, when it sets, everybody will go their way. You'll be the one left alone in the cold. You'll be the one left alone in the dark. You'll be the one left without money. You'll be the one, except God sends you helpers. You will just find out you are floating, you are all by yourself. So I want to thank you again for your honesty and for agreeing to join me in this conversation. It feels like I'm just here ranting, getting people to come and talk. But then I know that we have started something with this. And I'm trusting that more people listen. As they listen, people will learn to tell themselves the truth.
Yeah.
People will learn to tell themselves that if that woman Zibā, in the midst of everything, could say, you know what, fear, you have nothing on me, I can also do the same. And I believe that everyone who would have the opportunity of listening to us on this podcast have picked up something. And I want to say thank you for joining us and have a blessed day. Thank you, Zibā. Not just for the words, but for the honesty behind them. For sharing not just the outcome, but the process and the parts that are still unfolding. That's a rare and generous thing. To everyone listening, this has been the Courage to Begin Again, part of our Fresh Start series on Unsilenced, Voices That Matter. If something in this conversation resonated with you, stay with you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have arrived yet. Starting again isn't one big moment. It's a series of small, courageous decisions made over time. And if you are making those decisions right now, even quietly, that counts. If this episode meant something to you, share it with someone who might need it. Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have a story of courage, reinvention, healing, or simply finding your way, this is a space for you. I am Kate Ibansi, and this is Unsilenced, Voices That Matter, where hope finds a voice and help finds its way. Until next time,